According to new research from Amazon Ads and Skift, 97% of travelers will take a leisure trip in the next year. These customers are looking for more than a deal. They're looking for a new experience. Travelers discover destinations through entertainment, recommendations, and everyday moments, with 1 in 4 finding their next destination while streaming shows and movies. That's where Amazon Ads comes in. Amazon Ads Solutions empowers advertisers to engage travelers across Prime Video, Twitch, and shopping channels with personalized messaging that inspires and converts. Ready to transform your travel marketing? Visit advertising.amazon.com to learn more.
Just under half of U.S. travelers are confident that they will complete all of the trips they have planned for 2026. That's according to a new poll by Skift Research. Why the uncertainty? Well, perhaps you've read the news lately. We are only 9 days into 2026, and it is coming in hot. Welcome to the first Skift Travel podcast of the year. I am Sarah Kopit, as always, here with Seth Borko, and I think the news is going to overtake the pod today. Global events have impacted almost everything in these early days of 2026 in the travel industry. Well, it is no exception. And Seth, you actually were a little too close for comfort, I'd say, over the holiday break.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back, Sarah. So good to be doing the podcast again, to see you again for the new year. And yeah, if we ended our last podcast of the year, loyal listeners will know that I was talking about my Christmas vacation to the wonderful tropical island of Aruba. And I actually called out on that podcast my fears that this whole Venezuela thing might spill over and impact Aruba tourism. And to be clear, my vacation was fine, safe, no issues, and I got back in time. But we did some excellent scuba diving, Sarah. We could talk about that after the after pod discussion. But sure enough, the U.S. government made its move on Venezuela. And actually, when we were talking earlier, we were just thinking Aruba because it's so close. It actually impacted flights across the entire Caribbean basin, as far north as Puerto Rico, and pretty peak season. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah.
They had the good sense not to do it over Christmas, but I mean, this is high season for the Caribbean, and I mean, multiple countries had flights canceled. A lot of chaos.
My closest friend, Saturday morning, I woke up and pulled out my phone and looked at it, and she sent me a text that said, well, I guess my vacation's off. And I was just like, oh no, what has happened? And she actually was set to go to Aruba, but she was in Newark Airport in the lounge. All flights were canceled. She's like, where should I go? What should I do? I'm like, let me
There's
consult.
always a travel angle. It's crazy. I mean, and it's a great, I mean, did you read the story? I read a story that I think it was Leonardo DiCaprio got stuck in St. Bart's. How terrible.
No, well, yeah, I know. Poor Leo. How he could possibly survive. Yeah. So I forget where she ended up going. Oh, Puerto Vallarta. Yeah, she went there. Yeah, she went to Puerto Vallarta. Yeah, and then another friend that was going with them went to Hawaii instead.
I saw pictures of the lines at Aruba Airport, and I was there days earlier.
Yeah.
These crazy lines, everyone getting canceled. You know for a fact all those hotels are sold out too, right? So it's got to be a nightmare. And I was joking with you before we started recording. My parents live in West Palm Beach, which is pretty close to Mar-a-Lago. So I feel like I flew from Aruba, let's not call it Venezuela, but right near Venezuela to Mar-a-Lago, effectively. So I felt like I was following. It was a very Trumpian holiday for me. I felt like I was close to the news.
You know, it's funny. One of my, it's so interesting, just how all of this is affecting our personal lives. So Maduro is right up the street from me. I'm in Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn. That's where I'm sitting right now. So he's in the facility that's in downtown Brooklyn. And when I worked at Bloomberg, I used to get to the office very early, for the 6 a.m., rush of news that came out. And a colleague and I used to get in a car at 5:30 every morning to go over the Brooklyn Bridge. And there was a time where El Chapo was there. And consistently on a regular basis made us late for work because it was the exact time they were taking him from the facility in downtown Brooklyn across to, I think, the Southern District in Lower Manhattan. And for El Chapo, they closed down the entire Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh my God.
At like 5:30 a.m. So
add that to his long list of crimes. I mean, I get it.
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like that's a scary one, actually. It's a really scary one.
We always were kind of like, so I'm curious if what the commute angle is for the
Maduro commute angle. There is always there's always a travel angle. There is always a New York angle. Like the way things work, I feel like being New Yorkers, and this is us, our bias, there's always something like, there's always patient zero, always criminal ground zero, whatever. Yeah. But, I think it's a good example. We're kind of joking about it, and obviously no one got hurt in Aruba. Just an inconvenience. But it is a good example of how it seems almost impossible to avoid talking about politics, even when we just have a strictly business travel-focused podcast. And even when we want to take a vacation and get away from it. I mean, I'll tell you, like, personally, I'm not super comfortable talking about politics in public on a podcast like this, and yet
I am.
You are, I know, but you're a pro at it. But and yet, this is not the only politics travel driven story of the week. There's another huge one out of Minnesota, right, Sarah?
Yeah. So we've got. I mean, let's see. We'll air this, so we'll drop this like all of 6 days, I think, after we're recording it. And we're only 9 days in. So I don't know what's going to have happened until next Thursday. But yeah, Minnesota is on fire right now because of the events with ICE, and there was a woman killed. And, it's interesting. Terrible. One of the Hilton hotels, they refused to house ICE agents. And the Department of Homeland Security came out on X with a post that basically called out Hilton, and Hilton, they revoked the franchise agreement for the franchisee that had that hotel. And so, kind of a fun fact, when I was practicing law, I actually used to review franchise agreements for the franchisor. On the franchisor side. So it would be like the equivalent of Hilton
corporate
here.
Level.
Yeah, exactly. And, we were kind of talking about whether the franchisee, the fact that it was a franchisee and not a Hilton proper mandate that came down would make any impact on whether or not, how this was seen from a PR or crisis comms perspective. And my answer is absolutely not. Nobody cares about your corporate structuring. Nobody cares about line 27B on page 145 of the document. It doesn't matter at all. So this is Hilton's crisis to deal with. But I will say at this point, the news has been so
moved on,
fast and furious. I think they've managed to avoid it.
I mean, not for good reasons, because the news has gotten so much horrible and so much worse. It's moved on, which is a tragedy.
Exactly. Yeah, because this happened before the woman was killed. Yes, before the shooting. Yep.
From a travel business perspective, it is a great reminder that we as an industry and as businesses are not immune from politics, and that our corporate structure is not going to save us. People, things are moving so fast in this world, and the way that this administration works on Twitter with direct callouts, DHS did not tweet, "Dear Hilton franchisee." They tweeted at Hilton. Yeah. And everyone who jumps on that bandwagon is at Hilton. And so it's the double-edged sword of franchising, right? It's why these companies have, and this is not the first time they face these issues. I mean, specifically in an immigration context, it is, but this is the double-edged sword of franchising and of being of having, asset light, is you don't have control over what your franchisees, right? Franchisees on the ground are doing. And unlike Sarah, most of the audience is not former practicing franchise.
Will not be aware. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will not be aware.
It's a crazy news cycle to start the year, huh?
Yeah. Sean O'Neill, our hotels reporter, is actually writing a story at the moment. It'll probably be out by the time that this podcast airs, just about the crisis comms perspective of this and how businesses deal with these sorts of things, whether it's a franchise or franchisee situation or not.
But it reminds me of that Delta story too from Trump 1.0, where they spoke out about a Georgia law that the Trump administration didn't approve of and some people really want, and they got themselves caught up in it. Avelo Airlines is not doing
Yeah, it was.
immigration flights. And so I think it's just a good reminder that, yeah, like a lot of us are business travelers, but the average pub Joe is a vacation traveler. They travel to get away from this craziness. And it really is inescapable if you work in this business. You can't just bury your head in the sand and pretend it's not happening, because hotels, airlines, destinations like Aruba are all, it's all
impacted
front and center.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually reached out to
Greenland,
one of my contacts in Greenland. Yeah. And about how it's impacting tourism. And, I'll be writing something up about that soon as well. So, yeah, and they're not like, we didn't even talk about Greenland.
We didn't even talk about
it's
that. Back in the news.
We didn't talk about it. Like, you talk about the 51st state, like maybe Greenland. I
still really want to go to Greenland. I'm not sure I'd be welcomed anymore, but I still really want to go.
You know what? I did read, it was just, the email came in right before we started recording. Greenland has said, I did get the top of it. One of their points is we are open and we are welcoming of everyone, Americans included.
It's a great message. I still really want to go. All right.
You are so welcome.
Thank you, Greenland.
Yeah, thank you.
Very
Greenland.
cool.
Okay.
Thank you, Greenland.
Yeah. So another big thing that we have going on at Skift this week is we have a brand new research report out, Seth. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's week one. We're back, first week back, and we've got our first report of the year on week one, which I'm really excited about. And it's a survey. We're calling it the Skift Global Travel Insights. What's new for 2026? It's a survey of 800 potential travelers worldwide. We surveyed 4 countries, the United States, UK, India, and China. And that's loosely a proxy for North America, Europe, South Asia, and East Asia. I know that saying that, I'm going to get a lot of people. What do you mean UK is a proxy for Europe? How dare you? Close enough, right?
You're just like, get out the shovel. Just keep digging.
Just keep digging. Keep digging. I know. Dumb Americans. What do you know? Exactly. Anyways, but the point is we're asking about travel behaviors, travel plans, outlook, trends for 2026. Here's a headline stat I want to share with you, Sarah, right? U.S. travelers of those 4 markets are particularly cautious about making travel plans this year. So we asked, your travel plans for 2026, you're going to travel. Definitely, still deciding, not planning. Between the not planning and the still deciding group, U.S. had the largest share. Almost 42% of American potential travelers said they're either not going to travel or they're still deciding. 24% said they're still deciding whether to take a trip this year or not, versus 10 to 15% in those other countries. And I do think that this specifically reflects the uncertainty that we are talking about here. How can you plan a Christmas trip to the Caribbean if maybe your flights are going to get canceled? There's the economy is doing fairly well. I'd call it strong, robust, stable. But, again, this is going to be, by the time this podcast airs, it will be old news, but there's a Supreme Court decision on tariffs that's about to take place today. What's going to happen with tariffs for the economy? What's going to happen with your travel plans? What's going to happen with all these things? I think that we are very much, so we are I don't want to come off headline stat too negative, but the headline stat is uncertainty and caution around travel planning is higher in Americans than in the 3 other countries, which are all international, different continents that we surveyed, than those other markets. And I think that reflects exactly what we've discussed, which is that just 10 days into the year and there's a trillion different economy reasons and political related stories. Exactly.
Yeah. Leisure travel hurts when uncertainty is the name of the game. And
and business travel too. Right, leisure travel, absolutely. And business travel, arguably even more so. If you're not sure about, if you as a CEO are not sure about what's going to happen next year, do you approve that conference budget? Big questions, right?
Yeah. So, but it wasn't all bad news, right?
No, no. And thank you for bringing me back from the brink there, Sarah. I think I said
I'm
this
here
podcast.
also, Seth. Yeah.
I think I've said on this podcast before, I am an optimist by nature. I'm a glass half full kind of analyst. And, one of my favorite survey questions we've ever asked was we give consumers, survey takers, a bunch of different discretionary things to spend money on. What do you want to spend your money on, Sarah? What are you excited to spend your money on? Is it electronics? Is it home goods? Is it fashion? Is it jewelry? What is it, Sarah? You can answer. Give us one more to the survey. Jewelry?
Yeah. Yeah,
Actually,
no,
well,
not jewelry. Not jewelry. That's like I couldn't fathom spending any of my discretionary money on jewelry. Although I did get an Aura ring.
Oh,
which I digress. Yeah.
Wait, I started wearing an Apple Watch for tracking.
I've never had one before. Yeah, well, we can link up our like I got my first sleep report last night. I was so excited. I got optimal sleep. I was like, much better than I.
Will it link with all of your jet lag apps and all that? Well, this is a great conversation. Well,
it will. It's one of the reasons that I did it. Like all of the above. I mean, I am setting myself up for a brutal travel schedule coming up just next week for Megatrends.
When you see how bad your sleep score gets after an intercontinental flight, you're going to think twice about some of these trips.
Exactly.
Sarah and I have a friendly competition to see who can do the most travel speaking engagements this year.
Yeah.
So,
Seth got the first one.
Yeah. Well, no, you're going to Megatrends before me. You're going to make... Anyways.
Yeah, but I'm not... Yeah, we'll report back on that friendly competition. Seth won last year, and I can tell you that Sarah will win this year. But I digress.
Book us. Yeah, listen to the podcast, decide who you want to speak, and book us. We want it. But look, I digress. We asked these travelers discretionary items, and I think your answer is fascinating because we gave them a bunch of different choices, all discretionary. So we didn't say like eggs or gasoline or rent. We just said fun stuff to spend your money on. What are you most excited to spend your money on?
The real answer is travel.
The number one answer in the world is travel. That's the answer. Yeah. Number one, cut to the chase. China, India, UK, US. Number one by a long shot. Travel. It is the number one discretionary lifestyle spending item that people want. Bottom place was actually jewelry, which is fascinating.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
We did this survey last year, and we got the same responses. And so this is not just like a single point in time. This is for the second year in a row that we've asked this question. Travel remains the number one most exciting discretionary spend that people can spend if they have the money for discretionary spending, which comes back to the uncertainty conversation. And, there was a lot of concerns last year and a lot of crazy stuff happened last year, and yet it was still a good year for the travel industry. And I think that this survey suggests something similar about this year.
I'm wondering what's going on in the UK with dining and entertainment. Like, do we need to send Taylor Swift over there or something? Like, they're so low on the dining and entertainment. I'll have to dig into this.
Yeah. Maybe there's a story.
Chart.
Maybe there's a story there.
Exactly.
And if you're not watching us on YouTube, where we are now, and you missed this chart, what Sarah's looking at is that the number two thing that people wanted to spend their money on discretionary was dining and entertainment, which, by the way, ties into travel. So much of dining out experiences happen when people travel. In fact, I think in the US, almost 1/5 of all restaurant spend happens on vacation. But the UK was notably low on that. We don't know. Maybe because the weather's not good.
I kind of see what happened. It's just I was going to say they're so high on travel, but I guess everybody is. I will have to look more into the trends from the chart. I love this chart. It's something actually when I do go out and talk to folks around the world, this chart is always there because it's one of the most interesting things I think that we can really put numbers to show the impact of travel around the globe. So one of the other things that I was thinking about this year, American Airlines got free Wi-Fi finally. And that is who I have status and loyalty with, for better or worse.
I think I saw on LinkedIn, it's like it's the credit card you got in college, and now you're loyal to them for life because of that?
For life, till the end of time, because I can't change. I just can't. It's too hard. I have too many other hard things in my life, and I just will keep doing that. Yes, I will. And but now I get free Wi-Fi. Now, save Skift some money when I'm, traveling. Don't have to, create the expense report for the $18 Wi-Fi. So that's good.
It is one of those modern miracles of flying, right? Like that we can now connect and work on planes.
It's so great. A lot of people, they look at me sideways when I say that, but I'm like, I was always so bored on planes. Now it's just it's just like the regular day. It's perfect, assuming the Wi-Fi works. But what else did your survey tell us about loyalty?
Yeah, so with this survey, and if you are a listener, if you're at all interested in this, this is almost an 80-page survey. We go into a ton of different topics: loyalty, AI, travel trends, regions. But to your point, Sarah, I think loyalty is one of the ones I'm most excited about. And you gave a great story for this. Like, we asked about what's going on in loyalty in terms of airline loyalty, hotel loyalty, credit card loyalty, Chase, whatever. And, we've been talking a lot about cards and the role, the rise of banks in travel loyalty. And again, if you're watching on YouTube or I'll talk you the numbers, we'll pull up a chart real fast. We said, the chart, actually one more chart before this, chart 3, if you wouldn't mind. We asked which loyalty program do you find most rewarding? And we gave them choices: credit card programs, hotel programs, airline programs, OTA programs, none of the above. We're trying to really suss out, that's sus to use that Gen Z word, suss out, the different formats of loyalty, which have the strongest edge. And what surprised me was that in pretty much all markets, credit card programs were found to be some of the most rewarding. In fact, in many cases, more rewarding than hotel or airline loyalty programs. I think it speaks to changes that we already have witnessed, but that will probably continue to happen in 2026. And it speaks to your story directly, which is that, the average American flies, twice a year, really, and they probably swipe their credit card at least twice a day, if not more.
Yeah.
And so they feel those rewards more immediately. They earn those rewards faster. And like we said, there is a huge halo effect with travel, going back to that first stat. So the credit cards want travel is a fun thing to spend on. They want that halo effect, but they also have the frequency, and they found ways to make it really rewarding. And so I think, as we go into 2026, certainly if I were running a hotel or airline or any travel company, loyalty would be number one on my mind. And this is this speaks to the continued, dare I use the word disintermediation, the $10 word when a one would use, the continued disintermediation of the continued rise, that's the $1 word, the continued rise of credit cards in the travel space. And I don't want to talk too much, but I would say, let me share one more chart, which is our 4th chart. And I think this was a real eye-opening chart for me, where we tried to tie the loyalty conversation back into the coming AI conversation. And we said, hey, if an AI assistant found you a great price or a great schedule or a great fare or anything, just really made a really great recommendation, but it was not with the usual hotel or airline brand that you book with. So in your case, Sarah, you are American Airlines ride or die for life. But what if your AI assistant said, I found you a great flight on Delta? Would you switch? And what we found was in the US, what are the numbers? 16% of American travelers said they would be very likely, and 36% said they would be somewhat likely. So there is a large chunk of travelers out there who are currently have a brand preference and are currently loyal to a brand, but who could be influenced by AI. I think that's a interesting, dare I say, scary thought, or exciting.
Yeah. I would say now, I must point out that I am actually not brand loyal at all. I'm just not getting another credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just too, like I said, it's just too hard. My numbers are stored in my computer. And if those numbers ever go away and I have to take out my card from my wallet, which I don't even take out of the house with me anymore, my life would be over. I would just shrivel up. I wouldn't be able to buy anything. I'd starve to death. It would be very difficult. So
Sarah,
I would, if Delta came up with a better flight, I would most certainly fly on Delta, but I would never book a flight with my Delta points because I don't have any.
This is something that we're not getting too much into it. Something that I say in some of my talks. If you want to book us, subtle competition. But we talk. Loyalty has become this word where you'll hear people talk about it like the loyalty or I work in loyalty. I do.
Right.
We refer to loyalty as a program or as a product. Loyalty is an emotion. And what's so interesting, what you're articulating to me, Sarah, is that you do not feel loyalty the emotion, but you are in loyalty a program. And when people do not have loyalty the emotion with a brand, they are really just mercenaries who feel trapped by convenience. And if a credit card company
mercenaries trapped by convenience, that's perfect. I love it. That's like a Skift take.
Yeah. And if an AI robot or a credit card company comes around with a better offer and can make it really easy for you, those aren't customers that are actually loyal to you. And that is both exciting if you are an incumbent, it's exciting if you're a challenger brand or even an incumbent brand without a strong loyalty program. That's exciting because what that tells you is that it's not fait accompli. There is still room for you to grow loyalty. And if you are a big loyalty brand, that's scary. That's scary because it tells you that your customers are
I am a mercenary with a convenience problem.
Yeah.
With a convenience problem.
So that's some insights from this report. There's a lot more if you're interested, and we can talk about it on other podcasts, or you can write in and ask us questions about it, or book either of us to come speak at your events, and we'll tell you all about it. But that's what I think. I don't know. It's enough for our audience for today, right, Sarah? I think.
Well, we've still got a few more things to do. Like we're gonna do.
We're gonna do housekeeping.
We're going to continue with our Bet the Coffee. I was trying to think what we did for the last one of 2025, but then I'm like, it doesn't matter. It was too long ago. It's like it was, ancient times way back then. So do you have a near-term prediction for us, Seth?
Well, is there anything coming up in the news cycle that we can bet on?
What do you think is going to happen with the Supreme Court on the tariffs? Because by the time this comes out, we will know the answer.
I think they could strike it down. I think we might. There's a good chance that if it gets struck down, the tariff thing changes, and we'll have a new round of tariff craziness. That could be our bet.
I'll take that bet because I don't think they will.
You don't think they will?
No.
All right. So let's bet on that.
I think they'll
strike it down.
Okay.
You bet they won't. Mm-hmm. If they strike it down, I think we see a total rejiggering of all the tariff stuff. I mean, it's back to a square. Is it?
It's back to April. Was it April 1st?
April
4th,
2020.
April 4th. Yeah, 2025. Yeah. I think that was what was Liberation Day. I believe that was
that's right. So let's bet on that. I think that's a great bet, and it's a macroeconomic thing, but again, it matters. Back to this whole, I guess, one of the big overarching themes of this whole podcast episode, which is that people thrive with certainty, businesses thrive with certainty, consumers thrive with certainty. The economy is actually, pretty good.
Even if it's bad, that's one thing that I learned actually working at Bloomberg. Even if the news is bad, as long as companies know what the news is,
great point.
They can pivot. They can adapt to it. The worst thing in the world for the market or for businesses is when they just simply aren't able to adjust to whatever major decisions are. Like they don't know how to behave.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I read a headline. I think it was in the Wall Street Journal today. The job market is kind of like a no hire, no fire job market, I think was the headline they used. So people have their jobs, they're keeping their jobs. There's not a ton of layoffs. There's not a ton of hiring on the other hand. So interest rates are coming down. Unemployment's fairly low across the US. Across the world, there's mild GDP growth. You put that together, it should be good. And then there are countries that should have high GDP growth, like in parts of Asia, in India, that should be great.
Yeah.
And so, the only thing we have to lose is if we get in our own way and we trip ourselves up from that perspective.
Which we will do.
No doubt. No doubt.
Every day. Yeah. Let's go on our myth versus fact. I already said mine, that a franchise agreement will protect the franchisor from bad press. Ha ha ha. No. That's fine.
I would go even further. Myth versus fact. The myth is that the franchisee will operate in line with your franchise agreement. They can
there you go. Yeah. There you go.
Whoever controls the computer controls your brand. The guy or girl sitting at the front desk controls your brand. Yep. That's the truth of being a franchisor.
Yeah. Did you get any big tips from friends and family? Travel tips going over the holidays?
Travel tips. Oh, can I give you? I'll give you one more myth. This is a little more controversial. I'll go backwards, but I was joking about this with my travel plans because I went from Aruba to Palm Beach.
Mar-a-Lago. Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago. So Venezuela, right near Venezuela to where the Venezuela decision was made. Another myth, DC was not involved at all. The myth is that DC has an important role to play in geopolitics, when in fact it's the Aruba Palm Beach corridor that is where all the politics is happening. Travel tip this vacation. I checked a lot of bags. I've been checking a lot of bags lately.
Were you a no checker before?
Oh, I try and be a no checker to the best of my ability, but Sarah, you'll laugh. It was obviously my scuba gear that required checked bags.
Yes, because I'm a checker. I can't be limited to a carry-on.
I've been checking a lot. Well, yeah, and once you decide to check one, well, you might as well check the second. And then actually, it is Carolyn Cremens, our president, who prides herself on doing a 2 to 3 week business trip in a single carry-on, will cringe at this one. But the freedom of not having a bag in a terminal and not having that roller behind you and just so free.
Yeah.
But my tip, which is an obvious one, which plan for lost luggage and bring a change of clothes, bring an extra bathing suit, bring any medications, bring a toothbrush. Otherwise, you might find yourself with no toothbrush, no toothpaste in a pretty rough situation with your in-laws.
Mine was similar, which was have a plan B.
Yeah.
You know? When you're traveling, that was just from my friend's Aruba trip, you never know when the United States of America is going to attack another sovereign nation. Moving on from that.
You can tell we've got in the brain today. You can tell where our mind's with that.
Any weekly winners and losers?
My loser is Hilton. Sorry. That sucks. That really sucks for Hilton.
And my winner is anyone who is looking to bury some bad news right now. This would be a great time to do it. If you're a comps person out there, maybe you want to, hit the fast forward on that thing.
Yeah. If there's any accounting issues you've been working your way through, today would be a great day to let the world know about it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Seth, do you have a New Year's resolution?
I have 2. One is related to our Oura Ring Apple Watch conversation. The classic New Year's resolution. This one's not really about working out per se, but just about being it's more of a wellness resolution than a fitness resolution. Just being more conscious of my body, keeping better track of it, taking better care of it, more from a wellness perspective of what am I eating, how am I sleeping, and of course exercising. But my resolution is not like hit the gym 3 times a day kind of resolution, because I've tried that before and it doesn't work. And I've got some hobbies stuff I want to do too. Obviously, scuba diving. I'm sorry, it comes up every podcast, but I got some big plans for some classes I want to take this year. We'll call that a resolution. What about yourself?
All right. Yeah, I don't do them. I think they're stupid. I don't know.
Facts.
It's like if you're going to do something, you can just do it whenever. You don't need a resolution. So no, I don't really have any.
Well, maybe you don't have a New Year's resolution because the timing of the year is dumb and you can just do things. Are there things that you intend to just do outside the context of a resolution this year that you'd like to see get done?
I mean,
a travel resolution, a trip you'd like to take?
Yeah, I'm going to continue to battle jet lag. It's the biggest hindrance to kind of my job, to my life. It's the biggest issue that I deal with. So I've been trying out some, for avid listeners, I tried out, Flykit, trying out Time Shifter, I got the Oura Ring now. I'm gonna try to figure out how to do it, how to fly internationally, how to do the long haul and still get some sleep.
Did you see that article where they interviewed CEOs on their jet lag tips?
Yes.
Did you pick anything up? Was there anything good there?
I thought that it was, I guess if you're asking somebody about their own personal tips, it's not tone deaf. But my overall take on that was it was incredibly tone deaf. It was like, my tip is to fly first class, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the tip. If fly first class, jet lag isn't so bad.
Yeah, let's not call this, if you fly first class jet lag, great tip. If you have a lay flat bed with meal service, it turns out it's pretty good. I would add to my, resolutions, even though they're stupid, I can't stop digging. Like you said earlier, I'll dig myself an even stupider hole. But and it ties into our loyalty conversation. This is a resolution I'm making to you and our listeners live. But my resolution is to use my points. I got these points. And I keep saving them up for all these big trips.
Yeah.
And instead, I just want to have premium seats on more flights than one first class seat on one big trip. I want to have slightly more comfort on all my trips. I want to use my points.
That's interesting. See, I would be the opposite. I would save up all my points for that lie flat seat.
Well, I've done that in the past, and inevitably you can't book it or it gets canceled. I don't know. I've had such. Yeah.
No, but I totally agree. By the way, like if I have some sort of random thing that I have to, go upstate to do, and I need to stay in a hotel, just use the points. What are they for? They're for exactly that. Just use them. Be done with it.
I'm going to London for a wedding. I can't afford business class, but you know what? I can get a great premium economy redemption. I'm not thinking twice about it. I'm booking them. I don't care if it cuts into my perfect 200,000 reward. Just book it. Have a nice flight. Arrive well rested. That's my resolution.
There you go. That's a good one. I can get on board. Pun intended with that one. All right. That is it for this week. Thank you for tuning in for the first Skift Travel Podcast of 2026. Please come back and see us next week. And until next time, everyone.